Welcome back to the Random Evil series. In this series, I'm sharing chapters from my book, Random Evil. Not Everything Happens for a Reason. It's an exploration of how we talk about suffering, why we feel pressure to find meaning in painful experiences, and what it might look like to heal without blaming ourselves. Today's chapter is Chapter 3, The Violence of Spiritual Bypassing, by Jennifer Irene Stewart. Let's begin. There are forms of avoidance that look enlightened. They sound calm. They use gentle language. They reference higher perspective. But underneath, something essential is being bypassed. The term spiritual bypassing was introduced by psychologist John Wellwood to describe the use of spiritual ideas and practices to sidestep unresolved emotional issues and psychological wounds. The bypass is rarely malicious. It often begins as relief. If suffering can be reframed as purpose, it feels more manageable. If anger can be labeled ego, it feels less dangerous. If grief can be elevated into gratitude, it feels less destabilizing. But when transcendence replaces processing, something remains unfinished. When language interrupts emotion. Bypassing does not deny pain outright. It redirects it. Instead of, "This hurt," we hear, "This is happening for your growth." Instead of, "I'm angry," we hear, "Anger is low vibration." Instead of, "This was wrong," we hear, "This was divinely orchestrated." The language sounds wise. It can even feel soothing at first. But premature reframing interrupts natural emotional sequencing. Grief needs to move through the body. Anger needs acknowledgement. Confusion needs space. When interpretation arrives too quickly, physiology is overruled by ideology, and the body does not consent to that override. Survival mode in spiritual clothing. Spiritual bypassing often appeals most strongly to people who have lived in prolonged stress. When survival mode becomes familiar, emotional suppression can feel normal. Hyperfunctioning feels like resilience. Self-monitoring feels like discipline. Detachment feels like wisdom. Spiritual language can attach to these adaptations and elevate them. I recognize this now with clarity. There was a period when I used bypassing language sincerely. I believed that reframing pain was maturity. I believed that elevating perspective was strength. Looking back, I can see something else. Much of that transcendence was survival mode. I was managing distress, not metabolizing it. That recognition carries regret. Not because I was malicious, but because I did not yet understand the difference. Bypassing is often survival strategy misidentified as enlightenment. The cost of premature transcendence. Trauma research consistently shows that suppressed emotional processing can prolong distress. Avoidance reduces discomfort short-term, but maintains activation long-term. When someone is encouraged to rise above before they have stabilized, they may appear composed. Internally, however, the nervous system remains activated. Anger that is labeled ego does not disappear. It turns inward. Grief that is labeled lesson does not dissolve. It becomes fatigue. Confusion that is labeled divine timing does not clarify. It becomes self-doubt. Spiritual bypassing does not eliminate pain. It relocates it. Intention versus impact. Many people who use bypassing language are sincere. They want relief. They want coherence. They want hope. But good intention does not eliminate psychological impact. When someone in acute pain hears, "Your soul chose this," the message may land not as comfort, but as accusation. When someone grieving hears, "This is happening for your highest good," the implication can feel like containment. There is a difference between offering perspective and imposing interpretation. Bypassing crosses that line. Spirituality versus avoidance. This distinction matters. Spirituality, at its healthiest, expands capacity. It increases compassion. It deepens honesty. It tolerates ambiguity. Avoidance narrows capacity. It suppresses protest. It rushes grief. It replaces emotion with ideology. The two are not the same. Spiritual bypassing is not spirituality. It is emotional avoidance wearing spiritual language. Recognizing that difference does not require abandoning belief. It requires psychological literacy. Integration instead of elevation. Healing is not about staying above emotion. It is about moving through it. True growth does not skip stages. It does not demand gratitude before acknowledgement. It does not call harm holy before it has been mourned. There is strength in allowing anger without weaponizing it. There is maturity in grieving without reframing. There is wisdom in saying, "This hurt," before saying, "And I learned." Integration is slower than transcendence. It is less impressive. It is also more durable. In closing, spiritual bypassing is rarely cruelty. It is usually discomfort with discomfort. But discomfort avoided becomes distortion. And distortion, over time, increases shame. You do not need to abandon spirituality to abandon bypassing. You need discernment. The difference between rising above and moving through is subtle, but one preserves dignity. The other postpones it. That's where we'll stop for today. If this chapter resonated with you, know that you're not alone in asking these kinds of questions. Many of us reach a point in life where we start looking at old ideas with new eyes. If you'd like to continue this exploration with me, I'll be sharing the next chapter soon. Until then, take good care of yourself.